Alright, hi, welcome to a special video on the Knitting Expat podcast channel. My name is Mina. I am the host of the Knitting Expat podcast, but today this is a special Destash video. I sort of mentioned over the last couple of weeks that I have a bunch of stuff I want to destash and sell and pass on to new homes, just because I'm not going to have time to work with a lot of the things that I have. And I've taken a bit of a view on my stash and needing to downsize since we've moved to a smaller place. And yeah, so that's what I've done. Our stuff arrived last week and I've gone through and organised and planned accordingly. So what I decided to do was do this little video to show you guys who are interested in purchasing from the Destash what will be going up for sale. What I've decided to do is to host a Destash on Instagram. There will be a separate Instagram account. Currently the account is set to private, so and I haven't actually announced what the name of the account is because I don't want anyone to try and like follow the account yet, because I've actually posted all the listings already, but it's private, so no one can see it, no one can purchase anything yet. So what I'm going to do is the sale will go live tomorrow, which is Wednesday the 1st of February at 6 PM Eastern Standard Time. So I believe that makes it 11 PM UK time and midnight in Europe. I'm not sure of other time differences. You can just use Google to figure out what that would be for you in your local time zone. I will be offering international shipping for most things. There are 2 items which I'll explain which ones they are and why that are purely US domestic shipping only, and that's just because they're heavy, and with US domestic I can do they have these flat rate shipping boxes, so that makes it a much more affordable way of me offering these items. I would have to charge a ridiculous amount of money for what they are in order to ship them internationally, and it just wouldn't be worth it for anybody. So that's why I'm not. It's just for 2 things. Otherwise everything else will have an international and Canadian shipping price as an extra over on the cost of the items. All the items are priced with US domestic shipping included. All of this information is on an Instagram post that I posted yesterday, and I'm trying to make sure I cover everything. So in order to take part in the sale, once the listings go live and the account becomes public, I'll post on my Knitting Expat account on Instagram that it is live. I'll post the name of the account that you will have to go along and check out. You don't have to follow the account, you just have to go to that account. And the first post, first person to comment on a post to say that they want that item, leaving me their email address, will be invoiced. And then you have a set amount of time to pay that invoice, and if you don't pay within that time frame, then the next person in the list who has fulfilled the criteria will be invoiced. The details are on every single listing on how this works, and they are in the information listing that I posted yesterday as well on Instagram, so you can go over and check that out. I've answered a bunch of questions in that thread. I will only be doing this over Instagram. You will need to have PayPal or be able to pay through PayPal. It is the only way that I can do right now. Yeah, you will have to post your email address on the listing, and I will only be able to invoice via PayPal because I just need to keep this as streamlined and as simple as possible for me right now. I'm 37.5 weeks pregnant. This is, I just really want to get this done before the baby gets here, and I looked at other ways of doing it. Ravelry just seemed far too complicated. It would take far too long to upload everything to Ravelry, and then having to message people back and forth through private messaging to discuss different things, and then to have to keep telling people that something's been sold out or deleted. It just seemed far too cumbersome. And then I thought about Etsy as well, but Etsy charges fees on top of everything else for every listing and every sale and stuff like that, and I just didn't want to have to deal with any of that. But also I wanted to mention that the proceeds from this sale are going to go back into the podcast. They are going to be used to pay for postage for future giveaways and prizes and stuff like that. So, you know, up until now, I've been personally funding the podcast, I guess, is probably the best way to do it. And I had thought about doing a Patreon sort of setup and something, like that, and I even came up with a plan of how that would work and what the different like price structures would give, the different structures for that would be. But quite frankly, at this point in my life, I don't think I could commit to something like Patreon in a way that I would be happy with. I mean, I still have my notes on how I would do that, and I may come back to that in the future, but for now I don't feel like it's something I can do and do well enough that I would be happy with to ask you guys to contribute. So I figured this is a good way for me to do it. I can declutter, and then the funds from this sale will go into a separate pot, which I will then use for future prize giveaways and stuff like that, so then I don't have to worry about postage and things in the future. So just want to put that out there and make that very clear, and be upfront with you guys about what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. What else? I'm trying to think if there was anything else I wanted to say. I think that pretty much covers it. If you do have any questions or anything before the sale goes live, then please feel free to let me know. Methods to contact me are email, knittingexpat@gmail.com. You can leave a comment on this YouTube video. You can send me a message on Instagram, or actually what would be better is if you just post a comment on the Instagram picture with the information about the Destash, because, or on the post when I put this video up, because the Instagram private messaging, I don't get those notifications, so I may not see your message. So it'd be better to comment on the pictures with a question, and I will try and answer those there. And yeah, so let's get into it. So first things first, I'm going to go over the two items that are US domestic shipping only. And the first one is being housed in my mum's old sewing basket, the sewing box. The box isn't part of the sale, but the stuff inside is. She brought this over for me last summer when she came, well, the summer before when we were in Bahrain. But it's a box full of beads and beading supplies. Back when I was a teenager, my mum and I used to do a lot of beading and making jewelry out of beads. So there is a ton of beads in here, and the picture for the listing is just everything spread out on the table with a photo taken from above. But there are all sorts of beads in a variety of colors and sizes. I'm not going to be able to take everything out to show you. There's a bunch of these beads in tubes. I don't know how well you can see these. A lot of these, I will be honest, are probably too small to be used in like knitting shawls and stuff like that. They're probably a little bit too fine, the holes in them. Some of them are bigger and can be used for knitting, but I think this would be a really good set of supplies for someone who makes jewelry or does stitch markers with beads and stuff like that. There's a whole bunch of different jewelry findings in here as well, including clasps and jump rings. I'm not sure how well these are going to show up on the camera. I don't get too far away from it, but there is a ton of stuff in here, and so all of this will be shipped in a medium flat rate box with USPS. And like I said, it will be US domestic shipping only, and the price includes the shipping. So and then I will also, once this has all been packed into the box, whatever space is left, I will stuff a few other goodies in there for whoever purchases this as well, like some tea and possibly some minis or something like that. And we'll I'll see what else I can squeeze into that box for whoever purchases this. The contents of it, and it's really heavy. This is another reason why I'm not doing international shipping for this one. And the second item that is only going to be US domestic shipping is the contents of this. And again, you're not going to get the bag, it's going to all go into a large flat rate shipping box. And this is all of the scraps of fabric left over from basically every project bag I've ever made. There is a ton of fabric in here, all sorts of different sizes and pieces. Some are in thin strips, some are in like bigger rectangular pieces. I mean, there's a whole like 3-4 inch wide strip along the selvage edge of this like comic book heroines fabric, and then there are a bunch of strips like this as well, which are in here. So there's a whole variety of different sizes. This is going to be perfect for someone who does like scrappy quilts, scrappy projects, piecing. You could use it for project bags, like I said, for quilts, all sorts. There is a ton of stuff in here, and there are some bigger pieces, like there are some bigger quantities in there as well, but it's a real mixed bag. And like I said, it's from all sorts of, okay, that's a bit of rubbish but there are all sorts of different, and pretty much every project bag I've ever made, there's probably a piece of fabric from it in this bundle of scraps. And I had kept it with the intention, I had kept all of these scraps with the intention of one day making a scrappy quilt out of all the fabrics I'd ever made project bags out of. But you know what, I have too many ideas and too many things that I want to make quilt wise that I already have plans for. I just know I am not going to get around to this anytime soon, and I just don't have enough space to store it, and I don't really want to have to throw it away. So I'm hoping someone will enjoy this. Again, like I said, I'm going to go into a large flat rate shipping box with USPS, and there again, whatever else I can fit into the box after I've squished all the fabric in, I will also throw in a few other goodies for whoever purchases this bundle. Put that back in the box. I also have a few needles that I'm destashing just because I don't use these anymore. They are soft needles. I have a pair of Knit Pro Symphonies, 120 centimeters and 2.25 millimeter size US ones, and these are the rainbow colored needles. I have a set of Mrs. Pride Novas, 40-inch 100 centimeter needles, also in 2.25 millimeter US ones. And finally I have a set of carbons in 40-inch 100 centimeters 2.25 millimeter US ones. I don't knit with these for a variety of reasons. One, I don't knit socks on wooden needles anymore. I didn't really like, it didn't suit my style of knitting with these ones. I didn't like the cord, but that was just personal preference. And with the carbons, I found it really messed up my gauge with knitting on these. The gauge I was getting on these was like I was knitting with 2 sizes bigger needles that were 2 sizes bigger. It was very odd. But these do have a very smooth join. I know the carbons sometimes have issues, people have had issues with the joins. I bought this at a shop, so I actually took them out and checked them before I bought them. So the joins on these are perfect, there's nothing wrong with that. That's not why I'm getting rid of them. I just don't like the gauge they give me. So those are the 3 sets of needles that are up for sale. And next up, I'll probably go over the project bags that I'm selling. I'm selling a variety of project bags. Majority of these are ones that I've made myself. Some have been made by others, but a lot of these are early prototypes of Mina Makes bags. A lot of these have been gently used, as in I've used them for maybe to house one project. They're a bit creased and crumpled from traveling. I will try and get as much of the creasing out before I post them, but it is what it is, it's fabric. And some of these have Mina Makes tags, like this one does. Not all of them do, a lot of the earlier ones don't. So there's this drawstring bag. I'm just going to quickly show these because I don't want to take up too much time on these. I have this bag by the Fawn and the Fox, which I purchased a while ago. I really like this bag, I just don't use it enough, and I have so many bags in my stash that I need to narrow stuff down. There's this small micro wedge bag. This one, there's absolutely nothing wrong with the bag. It's just a blue pinstripe fabric. There was a slight mark on the fabric itself, which is why this never went up for sale in the first place. There's nothing wrong with it, and this was just a mark that was on the fabric when I bought it. I just didn't notice when I cut it up, but otherwise it's perfectly fine. These are some of the really early project bags I ever made. This is a patchwork floral one. This has quite a thin interfacing. Then there's this large sort of pink and purple with gold chevron. This has quite a thick sort of quilted interfacing on it. There's this ice cream print. There's this large elephant project bag. Again, this has a slightly thinner interfacing than I've been using since, but like I said, these were early prototypes. And then there's this large patchwork one as well, with again thinner interfacing, but still perfectly usable. And then I have a couple of other larger drawstring bags as well that are up for sale. So these will all be listed individually with the details on their size and stuff like that on Instagram as well. So that's it for anything that's non-yarny related. So to go through the yarn, and I'm not going to be able to sit here and, like you see, I've not done all the prices and everything because I don't have my price list of everything in front of me, but it is all on the listings, so you'll be able to see that there. Right, and next we'll go through what's in front of me, the yarn. Okay, so there's a mixed variety here. There is mostly a selection of lace weight and fingering weight yarns. There are a couple of heavier skeins in there as well, but I'll run through the lace weight first. So I have this skein of Drops alpaca lace. This one's already been wound into a cake. The tag is in the middle. I also have it in purple and in red, and these will be up for individual sale. There's 800 meters in 100 grams for these, and it's 70/30 baby alpaca mulberry silk. There's this skein from Gothard Creations. Again, it's 800 meters in 100 gram skein. It's a gradient from purple to green or green to purple, depending which way you start from, and this is in the Morticia colorway. And I have this skein of Jaeger spun lace weight. It's the Zephyr lace base. It's 50/50 wool and silk in the steel colorway, 1120 yards per 100 grams. So this is a really, really fine lace weight. I have this skein of the Verdant Griffin, their mithril base, which is their lace weight. It's 750 yards per 4 ounces, and it's 100% superwash merino, and it's in the Big Rock Candy Mountain colorway. I have these 3 skeins of Shibui Sima. Just double check I've got that right. Yeah, Sima, in graphite, ash, and tar colorways, and these will be for sale as a set, as a sort of like a gradient set all together. These will be beautiful in like a 3 color shawl of some kind. They're 50 grams each, and there's 300 meters per 50 grams. Yeah, 300 meters per 50 grams. I have this skein of Swedish lace weight yarn. I believe this is 600 meters in 100 grams. It's purples and greens and blues, and it's a 100% Swedish wool. I have this skein of Grignasco Regina. It's a superfine merino Italian yarn in this lovely sort of deep foresty green colour that I picked up when I was in Rome last year. And this is how much? 1,250 meters in 100 grams. So again, another really substantial yardage skein. I think that covers all the lace weight yarns. I then have this little bundle of Knit Picks Comfy Sport, 4 in the Whisker colorway, 1 in the Planetarian, this darker blue, and Marlin, which is the lighter blue on top. One of the skeins I've used like 2 yards out of it to finish a project, but otherwise pretty much full skeins. I've just realised I've knit with this a few times. I just realised I don't enjoy knitting with cotton yarn. I've knit a few washcloths out of this. They're fine, I just don't get much enjoyment out of it, so I'm going to let these go to a new home. Someone who enjoys working with it, hopefully. Again, I have these 3 skeins of Let Lopi, which is the worsted weight yarn, like Icelandic Lopi yarn. 2 of the purple, 1 of the grey. 100 meters per 50 gram ball, so there's 300 meters here. You could do. I bought these with the intention of doing like Fair Isle mittens or something like that, but I just, again, I know I'm not going to get around to it, and so I just want to pass these on to someone who will enjoy them. I'll stick with the Icelandic yarns. I'm selling these as a set. It's a rainbow set of Einband Lopi. So this is the Icelandic lace weight, and these 6 rainbow colors. There is 100 and I believe 250 meters per 50 grams. So there's 1,500 meters of yarn in this little bundle right here. So yeah, and I'm selling this as a bundle because I feel I bought them with the intention of doing some sort of rainbow project together, and I feel like they kind of need to live together. So these will be going as a set. And in addition to that, I also have these 5 skeins. Well, it's actually 4.5 skeins. This last grey one is a partial skein, and I haven't actually included this in the cost. This is like a little extra that I'm just throwing in. But there's 2 skeins of this darker purple, 1 of this fuchsia, and 1 full skein of the grey plus a partial, also in the iron band, so 250 meters per 50 grams, and this is going to be another set. Again, I sort of bought these with the idea of doing a specific project together in these colours. So yeah, I just want to pass that on as well. I have this skein of Mountain Colours hand-painted yarns on their twizzle base, which is 85% merino wool, 15% silk. It's lovely sort of rainbow colours, and you can see the silk and the lighter bits poking out there. Again, really nice. I'm not entirely sure what I would knit out of this, so I want to pass it on to a new home. I have some commercial yarns. I have this skein of Regia. This is their 6-ply DK weight sock yarn. There's 150 grams in this ball, and as you can see, it's rainbow colours, rainbow stripes. There again, I'm just not going to get around to knitting this anytime soon, and I feel like someone else might get more enjoyment out of it than I will right now. So pass that on to a new home. I also have these 2 skeins of Serdar Heart and Soul. They don't have specific colorway names, or they do, but I just don't have them I don't know what they are in front of me. So this one is shade number 101, and this one is shade number 53. So they're lovely sort of self-striping yarns from the UK. They're a commercial sock yarn, but so it's your standard 75-25 wool nylon superwash, 400 meters in 100 grams. So yeah, that's those. Those are sold individually, they're not being sold together. And then I have this bundle of Holstgarn Super Soft in these 4 colours, yellow, blue, green and grey, being sold together as a bundle. And this is, can't remember what the yardage is, but it's quite a lot for 50 grams. Each of these cakes are 50 grams. Again, the yardage is all listed for all of these in the listing as well on Instagram. I just can't remember off the top of my head what this one was, because these didn't come with tags or anything on them when I got them. There's this skein of Villain's yarn, beautiful sort of greens. It's a single ply superwash merino and silk, 70-30 superwash merino silk. It is 400 meters in 100 grams, and it is a French yarn. So the colorway, I'm not sure if I can remember. Wandering the Moor, so that's the name of the color, is the Wandering the Moor colorway. Then I have this skein from the Yarn Enabler, and I have some of her other yarn in my stash already. I just know I'm not going to get around to knitting this one for quite a while, but it is a double gradient, I guess it was a sock blank that she's wound up into a skein, but it's in the Sun Drenched Black Breeze colorway. So it's a double gradient. It goes from the purple to the yellow twice, so you can use it to make matching socks, or as close to matching socks as you get with the gradient. But so there's that, will be up for sale. There is this skein of I Knit or Die, which is a UK based yarn shop and indie dyer. This is on their 100% superwash PFL Blueface Leicester base. I've knit socks out of this before for my dad. They're very hard wearing, they make great socks. And I can't remember, I don't know what it says Starman on here, but I don't think that's the name of the colorway. I think that's just the name of the base that they use. So so yeah, really, really good quality sock yarn. And finally, well, not finally, but a couple of things. I have another sort of gradient of greys to set up for sale. This is Pearl Soho's Line Weight, which is their light fingering weight yarn. It is 494 yards in 100 grams per skein, and these are in the Heirloom White, oyster grey and storm grey colorways. So I'm selling these as a set. Again, together I think that they would work really well in a variety of projects, either together or, you know, separated out into other things. But these are going to be sold together as a set. I also have some more line weight up for sale, but these are up for individual sale. So we have peacock blue, paprika red, there's another oyster grey, and then there's a red zinnia, or zinnia red, with red zinnia. So these 4 will be up for individual sale as well. And that's it for actual yarn. Then next up I have little, actually no, I've got one more yarn thing to show you, sorry. I'll do this one. This is kind of a mix between the 2 things that I'm doing. So I've got 2 skeins of Knit Picks palette, one in mist, the grey, and one in cream. So it's been really blown out by the camera there. I also have 2 partial skeins of the mist that are in here, plus a variety of colourful scraps. Mostly around the 10 gram-ish mark, 5 to 10 gram mark. Some are a bit bigger, but I'm just putting this all together as one bundle. It'll be great for someone who wants to practice some colour work, wants to play around. It'd be enough in here to do a couple of small projects, and all sorts of stuff. So that's going to be one little bundle. And the next up are from my binner scraps, and I had thought about sitting down and maybe making up little mini skein sets, winding off like 10 gram minis or 20 gram minis or whatever, but I was like, you know what, I don't have time, I don't have the energy, and quite frankly I just want this stuff out of the house. I want this to be gone. So what I've done is I've divided things up by colour families, for the most part. So I have a bundle of greens. I'm not going to take all of these out of the bag. I've taken photos of these out of the bag so you can see all the colours, but it's all different shades of greens and different tones of greens in there. So you've got these bright sort of like this chartreusey green colour. This is Huloko yarn. It's a glitter base. Then there's some MCN in there. There's a sock blank in the back here from Primrose Yarn Company. There's some opal. It's mostly hand dyed in here. There's some Mrs. Crosby hat box. Yeah, it's mostly hand dyed. There's some Volumvine in this one as well, some from my Deck the Hall socks. There are a couple of commercial yarns. There's, like I said, there was an opal and a Zauber ball in here. There's also some Homespun House in this one on her old Olsen base. So yeah, a real mixed bag. And again, the listing will say how many grams total of yarn there is in this. And some of these minis are quite sizable that, you know, depending on what you're knitting, you could probably get a pair of child socks out of it, or if you mix a couple of them together, you could get some shorty socks as for an adult. So yeah, so with this and most of the others, there are some sizable minis in each one of these bags, I mean. I have this bag which is mostly worsted and heavier weight mini skeins, leftovers I guess, not mini skeins, leftovers. There are some sport and DK, but it's mostly worsted to Aran weight. There's a couple of hand spun leftovers, there's all sorts, there's some hand dyed, some commercial dyed. It's a real mixed bag. Again, same sort of thing, the weight of the total amount will be in the listing, and there are some bigger leftover pieces. There are definitely some of these in quantities big enough that you could knit a child's hat out of, or some smaller sort of like children's projects if you mixed a couple together. Then we have this bag. It's a smaller bag, but this is a set of neutral mini skeins and leftovers. So it's all greys, creams, whites, blacks, a neutral bundle. Again, mostly hand dyed. There is some Wool Barn, Circus Tonic Handmade, some I Knit or Dye London. There's a Pearl Soho line weight. Yeah, so it's a good mixed bag in this one as well. So next up I have this bundle of pinks and reds, pinks and red yarns. Again, this is quite a sizable bundle, which has a lot of the minis in this one are quite big. There are a couple of 50 gram or almost 50 gram size minis in this bag. This is again mostly hand dyed yarns. There is some Adelaide Cottage, some Nooch Fiber Arts, 5 Moons, Primrose Yarn Company, Eternity Ranch, Wool Barn. There's actually quite a bit of Wool Barn in this one. There's a bit of Crazy Zalba Ball. And yeah, this one actually, the Zalba Ball I believe is the only thing in here that is commercial. Everything else in this bundle is hand dyed. It just happened to be that way. We have this smaller bundle of blues. Again, a lot of hand dyeds in this one as well. There's some Regia, Arnie and Carlos, some Zalba Ball as well. There's some Uncommon Thread. There's some Dubai Knits. There's I'm trying to see what I can see through here, but there's some Tannis Fiber Arts I believe as well. So a good sort of mixed bag in that one as well. There is a rather large bag of purples, which if you know me at all is not surprising. I love my purple yarn. There is again a really mixed bag in here. There's a few more commercial yarns in this one as well, but the commercial ones are mostly self-striping. So there's knit picks, there's a German sock yarn, there's some hedgehog fibers, there's Sweet Georgia, there's Marianne sock, there's knitting in France. I'm trying to see what else I can recognise through here. There's some Richard de Vries. There's a good, again, a big mixed bag. Now I haven't labelled the yarns individually to let you know what everyone is. You just know that there is a good selection. And if you do purchase one of these mini skein bags and you really want to know what a specific one is, you can always send me a picture or ask me, and I will, for the most part, be able to remember what they are. And if I don't, I will try and figure it out. I have this little bundle of Madeline Tosh mini leftovers. Again, quite sizable leftovers, if it will focus. So we have Candlewick, Lolita and Modern Feral. There's about 75 grams in this bundle here, so they're about 25 grams each. Again, enough to do a small project with, or you can pair them with some other leftovers to make a larger project. But I wanted to keep these together. I have a bundle of commercial sock yarn leftovers. Again, most of these are in sizable amounts. You could probably do some children's socks out of these or use them for scrap projects and stuff like that. I think most of these, almost every one of these except one, is self-striping in here. And there's some Regia, there's West Yorkshire Spinners, there's Felici, there's some Patterns Croy, there's some, I think there's some Opal in there as well. But yeah, again, another mixed bag there for you. And finally, the last mixed bag is basically everything else. This is all hand-dyed leftovers. There's a bunch of self-stripings in here. There's some Trading Clouds, some Yoo-Hoo Knits, there's Frolicking Feet, Into the World, Shibui, Woolmize leftovers, there's some Koigu, there's some Knitting a Love Song. I'm just going through, see, Socks That Rock, Primrose Yarn Company, some Anzula Squishy as well. So, oh, and some hedgehog fibers. I don't know if I said that or not. Oh, and London House Yarns. There's some the Harry Potter 4 Founders colourway in that one as well. So again, another mixed bag, but this is all hand dyed, sort of like a rainbow bag. And that covers everything. That is everything that is up for sale, and I hope that you find something that you would like and that you will check out the sale. Like I said, the account will go live on, or go public rather, at 6 PM on Wednesday, tomorrow, Wednesday 1st of February. I will post on Instagram at 6 PM once it is activated and it has gone public, so you can find the account, and I'll post the name of the account, and from that point it will be open until everything is sold, and I will then be sending out invoices from Wednesday evening. And again, I think it's in the listing, but you have until 3 PM on Thursday to pay the invoice, otherwise I will then invoice the next person in line for the item, as it were. Please don't private message me with information. I cannot then I do not have time to cross-reference people's private messages with posts on Instagram. I will only go by the information that you give me on the post. If it is incomplete or not correct or not in line with the guidelines of what I've given in the post for how to indicate that you want to purchase something, then I will just move to the next person in line. I need to keep this simple, so please follow the rules in the listings. Like I said, I've posted the rules already yesterday, so you can go and check that out on Instagram it is a written sort of like picture post. So so please familiarize yourself with those rules, and ask me any questions now before the sale if you have any. And yeah, so I think that's it. Thank you so much for joining me. I will be back again soon with a podcast tomorrow, and until then, take care. Bye.